Hello everybody and welcome back to Pravus Gaming and more Plague Inc. Evolved Custom Scenarios. Today we are paying tribute to a very real and horrible disease called Lyme disease. You may have heard of it. Little blood-sucking parasitical deer ticks will bite ya, and they pass on the disease, and it starts off like the flu with some joint pain and arthritis. And then other horrible things can happen. The telltale sign, of course, of Lyme disease. The target-shaped rash expanding around the bite. Sometimes hidden under the hair, but it's pretty truly atrocious. Like, this disease can, like, mess you up permanently for the rest of your life, even if you get it cured, kind of a thing. Let's see, blah, blah, blah. It's created by Caniosic. Nervous system, heart issues, meningitis. Yeah, really bad things. Okay, I don't play enough real-life diseases. I mean, it's fun to do things that are either meme-based or something fantasy-related. I like that as much as anything else, but I don't know. Every once in a while, someone comes up with a really good real-world disease that deserves to be spotlighted in some way, and I'm trying to make up for that today. We're going to actually play with it. ATP boost, Darwinist, Oxide, Hemophil, and Symptostasis all seem fine. Normal difficulty, it is Lyme disease. New bacteria spread across the world. The bacterial shall start in Saudi Arabia. Do deer even exist in Saudi Arabia? I don't even know if there are deer down there for deer ticks. Never really considered that before. But it's possible. Transmissions. We start off with Tick 1. The pathogen passes into tick organisms. The pathogen gets the ability to move between animals and humans. That leads into DNA activation. The pathogen activates genes that are responsible for transmitting disease from animals to humans and from humans to humans. Okay, let's go ahead and pick that up, and that's going to lead to blood, droplets, so good in human environments, feces for mutations, and Tick 2, spread into wild animals, increasing the number of infected ticks. It's only one DNA, so let's pick it up. Tick 3, very resistant to adverse environmental conditions, increasing the chance of mutations. It's only 2 DNA for that much infectivity? How could I possibly say no? Dogs become one of the main targets of ticks. They cause aggression towards people. Ugh. Cats, one of the main targets of ticks. Again, aggressive towards people. Oh gosh, when all your house animals start acting rabid, ain't rabies. This is the Lyme disease. Gonna have to put Fido down. Insomnia, inability to make people have sleep, is irritable and less productive. We've seen that before. Hot flushes, not flashes. Uncontrolled hot flushes affect the productivity of people. Definitely supposed to be flashes, just FYI. Abilities, we have our cold, heat, and drug resistance are bacterial protection, which is just the standard environmental shield there, and indifference. The bacterium affects the behavior of the host, forcing him to ignore the symptoms, reducing severity by a wide margin, so that you can go undetected for even longer. Here's the thing, I like my severity because I like my extra DNA, so that ain't gonna happen. We will instead go for hot flushes, which leads to sore throat for some discomfort, and then we have joint pain. Pretty severe, pretty infective for only 2 DNA, though. Turns out that the symptostasis is paying for itself in a pretty major way. Now, that is enough severity at this stage of the game that maybe I do want to release it at least a little bit. Fever this early on is probably not what I want, so let's go ahead and devolve that and get a refund of 2 points. Cats, do you want to go for something else? I don't know if I want mutations. Let's go for droplets for the humid. Droplets, too, again, in the humid environments. I'm not seeing anything that would speed us up in an arid environment, and that is a slight issue as far as just, you know, an early spread, but oh well. We'll do the best that we can. Blood for the poor regions actually could be worthwhile just because we will get into poor countries pretty soon, and that might make up for some of our deficit in early game speed and spread, right? I mean, normally I wouldn't bother with the blood, but yeah, we're running a little bit on the slow side here. Let's go for the cats. Livestock. Farm animals become an easy target for ticks. Causes strange behavior. Contact with secretions can lead to the infection. Yay. Aphasia has mutated for free. What does that one do? Pathogen hinders the ability of speech, making the drug more difficult to develop. So now I feel like I am going to go ahead and reduce that severity. It's a bit much. It still leaves behind enough that I'll get a good amount of extra DNA as I spread. Obviously, it could be better. But we have more severity than we do infectivity, or at least we did until we popped that, and that's generally not a position you want to be in. At least not in the early game. Later, sure. Necrovirus, sure, but for this, maybe not so much. We'll do the livestock. That leads to Grazoni. I don't know what that is, actually. The ticks attack rodents. Wait a minute. A tick on a rodent? Oh, no! It's the Black Death all over again! I mean, basically, that's how the bubonic plague was a thing, right? No, wait, that was a flea, not a tick. Okay, so it's like the bubonic plague's cousin. That's what Lyme disease is, all right? Let's go for that. That leads to Ptoktui? What? I don't frickin' know. Birds become susceptible to the infection, so land transmission and so on, all of that would be quite nice. I don't think I'm going to go for any more blood. I have no idea if blood was going to lead down to whatever's down here. It certainly doesn't seem that way. But this is getting a little bit on the expensive side, don't you think? We could go for some feces, but I don't know if I want mutations yet. Let's go for some cold resistance and then probably some drug resistance so I can get around in Europe a little bit faster. And then after that, maybe we'll let mutations carry me to victory. Saudi Arabia is working on the cure. There's the activation of symptoms. Wait, what does that do? Hang on. The pathogen enters the neuroborreliosis state? I don't know. We're going to go for the headache, and that leads to fibromyalgia, reducing the performance of people. Okay. Chills? I don't think chills does much of anything for me at this stage. Okay, I almost feel like I said that word better the first time, and then just progressively got worse and worse as time went on. Another level of drug resistance would be nice, but probably unnecessary. We've got a pretty healthy spread right now, so I feel like we can focus mostly on just the cold resistance so we get around in places like, I don't know, Greenland, a little bit faster, and then we'll be fine. Ready to go. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and pick up the bacterial protection so we can get even more environmental resistance against the cold weather in particular. I'm not worried about hot at all. It's all about that cold weather. Okay, now we can go for some drug resistance because we actually are looking pretty good on DNA. And I do think that we're going to kind of let the mutation carry me to victory for the most part. So we're missing Canada, the Philippines, the Caribbean, New Guinea. Some places I would not have really expected are going to be the problem. Fascinating. Let's go for feces. That leads to the fly. Flies become susceptible to the pathogen. Then we have fly 2. Take the pathogen out of the feces and can spread it to humans. And then we have the fly 3. The main purpose of flies is people. What does that mean? I don't know. It's the purpose of a fly. Didn't you know? Peoples are the purposes of the flies. Okay. Fibromyalgia. Well, great. Can we please get... Okay, we got something into Iceland. There's an airport in the Caribbean. There's an airport in Greenland, I just realized, too. Okay, so I guess this is one of those scenarios where all the islands have an airport to try and increase your odds of getting in. That's always fun. Do we want to go for more? I mean, I guess I'll go for some droplets, but I think we want to save everything just for mutation chance at this point. Poor regions are okay for the mutation chance, again. Please get into the Caribbean. I mean, there's an airport, but nothing has actually been done as far as getting into said airport. Friggin' Caribbean, man. Get into the Caribbean, dang it. I don't feel like it's supposed to be this difficult. Get in there! There we go. Okay. Good. Now we can focus on symptoms. So we have the memory loss. Slow to cure. All right. Tantrums. Anger can be fatal. You say so. Sweating wouldn't help me much. Numbness of the skin. All this stuff is extremely cheap. Like, the symptostasis is outrageously good. We will go for a fever and tantrums, then seizures. We have palsy of the cranial nerves. Patients do not control facial muscles. There are problems with eyesight, double vision, lack of feeling, squint, problems with taste. Hinders the work on the drug. All right, sounds good. You know, I recently had a series of fillings put in my teeth for some cavities. I went to the dentist finally. First time in 15 years. Really embarrassing, I know, horrible. Bad mistake, don't do what I did, kids. Anyway, they found 11 cavities, which is hilarious because it's not that I don't take care of my teeth, I just didn't quite take care of flossing, apparently the way that I should have years ago. They were all very shallow, but they didn't need to be dealt with. Anyway, they numbed the crud out of my face, and I, like, lost control over almost all my muscles. It was a really weird feeling. All right, let's go for the meningitis. We have aggression, we have acute encephalitis, and hair loss. Feels a little bit far down the tree for hair loss, which is a non-lethal symptom, but okay. No, sure, I'm sure that's completely fine. France begins to break down due to hair loss. Probably not, because I haven't evolved it yet, but that would be funny. We'll go for sweating. That leads to cystitis. All right, that leads to delirium. Okay, slowing the research speed. Paralysis, research speed. Deep depression hinders work on the medicine. Then we have anorexia and suicide. Anorexia, almost as effective as outright suicide. Did you know? I mean, if you're anorexic, you're practically killing yourself. As surely as if you were hanging yourself. I know, it's incredibly dark and upsetting. But apparently, that's what the scenario is trying to tell you. Let's go over a couple of genetic reshuffles. Just buy myself a little bit of extra score. Set that cure back down to 43%. If I could get a little bit more, I would happily do so. But I think the odds of getting enough DNA at this point are a little on the low side. There's the hair loss. Now the French can go crazy. Sorry, guys. It's just got to be done. Something about stress leading to hair loss. Hey, we can get another one of those genetic reshuffles. Back down to 40%. Beautiful. All right, 456 days, 40% cure progress, 52,600 points even, and 2 stars overall. It was pretty good. Honestly, the scenario was fine. Good amount of symptoms, good amount of variation. The balancing was pretty good. I will say that I think that it's a little unusual to throw some symptoms, like hair loss as an example, far down the tree when that's the point where you should be ramping up your lethality. There's not a lot of incentive to get something like that, unless there's a combo, which there actually might have been, and that's something I kind of clicked through. And if that's the case, then I'm just mistaken, but still. But overall, yeah, I mean, it seems to follow a lot of the more extreme symptoms of Lyme disease reasonably well, and all in all, it plays out as a pretty good bacteria, so really not bad at all. I'd say this is an enjoyable scenario. A few typos here and there, but we can forgive that. Anyway, thank you all very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If so, then I would ask you to hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.